Imagine doing everything right. You wake up early, you take your supplements, you read the health articles, you follow the advice. You add turmeric to your morning drink because you heard it fights inflammation, protects your joints, and even shields your brain from aging. You feel good about it. You feel like you're finally getting ahead of your health. But weeks pass, then months, and somehow you still feel stiff in the mornings. Your energy is still flat. Your joints still ache. And you start to wonder whether any of it is actually working, or whether you've just been fooling yourself this whole time. Here's the truth that nobody tells you at the start. Turmeric is one of the most powerful natural medicines ever discovered, but it is also one of the most misunderstood. And the mistake most people make isn't taking too little of it. The mistake is combining it with the wrong things and quietly canceling out every single benefit before it ever reaches your bloodstream. This is not a small problem. This is happening to millions of seniors every single day, and most of them have no idea. They're drinking golden milk before bed, taking turmeric capsules with their morning coffee, stirring turmeric powder into their orange juice, all while believing they're doing something wonderful for their health. But certain everyday foods and drinks, including ones that are genuinely healthy on their own, can completely block turmeric's active healing compound, a substance called curcumin, from doing its job. Some combinations don't just reduce turmeric's effectiveness, they reverse it. They turn an anti-inflammatory spice into a source of digestive stress, liver strain, and even increased inflammation. And for people over 60, whose bodies are already working harder to absorb nutrients and process what they eat, these hidden interactions can have real consequences on how you feel every single day. What you're about to discover is not meant to scare you away from turmeric. Quite the opposite. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how to use turmeric the right way, so that every dose you take actually reaches your joints, your brain, your heart, and your bloodstream, and does the job it was designed to do. We're going to walk through 8 specific foods and substances that should never be combined with turmeric, especially for seniors. Some of them will genuinely surprise you because they're foods most people consider perfectly healthy. And that's exactly why this conversation matters, because the combinations you don't know about are always the most dangerous ones. So let's start from the very beginning with one of the most popular turmeric combinations in the world and one of the most quietly damaging. The first combination that deserves your full attention is dairy: milk, cream, butter, and cheese. You've probably seen golden milk all over the internet. It's warm, it's comforting, it smells earthy and inviting, and it's promoted everywhere as a natural nighttime remedy for pain, inflammation, and better sleep. The recipe looks simple enough: turmeric powder stirred into warm milk, maybe with a spoon of honey or a dash of cream. It feels like the kind of thing your grandmother might have made, ancient and wise and deeply nourishing. But here's what those recipes almost never tell you. That particular combination, turmeric mixed with dairy milk, can quietly reduce the absorption of curcumin by nearly 40%, making it one of the least effective ways to actually use this spice. And for seniors specifically, it can quietly make the very conditions you're trying to treat, like arthritis, joint stiffness, and inflammation, noticeably worse over time. Here's the science, explained simply. Curcumin, the active healing compound inside turmeric, is notoriously difficult for the body to absorb. Even under the best conditions, it needs a clean, stable internal environment to work properly. When you mix it with dairy milk, a protein called casein, which gives milk its white color, binds tightly to curcumin molecules and forms a compound that your digestive system simply cannot break down and absorb. The curcumin gets locked inside this protein complex and passes right through you, never reaching your bloodstream, your joints, or your brain. But the problem doesn't stop there. The saturated fats in whole milk and cream do something even more troubling. They actively trigger inflammation through their own biochemical pathways. So while the tiny amount of curcumin that survived the casein binding is trying to calm inflammation, the saturated fats from the milk are simultaneously reigniting it. It's like trying to put out a fire while someone else keeps adding wood behind you. I want to tell you about Mrs. Linda Warren, a 70-year-old woman who had been drinking golden milk every single night for 6 full months. She believed in it completely. She told her family about it. She recommended it to her friends. But her arthritis was actually getting worse, not better. Her fingers were stiffer than they'd been in years, and she couldn't understand why. When she was asked to describe her routine in detail, the answer became clear immediately. The milk she was using was full-fat dairy milk, and it was wrapping itself around every molecule of curcumin she was trying to absorb. Once she made one simple switch, replacing the dairy milk with unsweetened almond milk and adding a tiny pinch of black pepper to help absorption, her stiffness began easing within weeks. For the first time in months, she woke up in the morning without pain in her hands. The turmeric hadn't changed. The dosage hadn't changed. The only thing that changed was what she mixed it with.
A 2021 study published in the Journal of Food Science and Nutrition confirmed this effect directly, finding that curcumin's bioavailability dropped significantly when mixed with casein-rich dairy compared to plant-based alternatives. Another study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that saturated fats from dairy increased markers of systemic inflammation in older adults, particularly those already dealing with arthritis or metabolic conditions. And there's one more layer to this problem that deserves mention. Many seniors, as they age, lose the enzyme called lactase, which is needed to properly digest milk sugar, also known as lactins. That warm, soothing cup of golden milk might feel comforting going down, but for many older adults, it leads to bloating, gas, and stomach discomfort within the hour. And when your digestion is already working inefficiently, your body absorbs even less curcumin than it otherwise would. The solution is beautifully simple. Replace dairy with unsweetened almond milk, oat milk, or coconut milk. Pair turmeric with a few drops of olive oil or a small piece of avocado instead of cream. These healthy fats actually enhance curcumin absorption rather than blocking it, because curcumin is fat-soluble and needs certain kinds of fats, specifically unsaturated ones, to cross into your bloodstream properly. The second combination that's silently undermining turmeric's power for millions of people is citrus. Orange juice, lemon water, grapefruit juice. Every morning across the world, people squeeze lemon into warm water and call it their health ritual. And since turmeric has become another morning staple, it seems natural to combine the two. A turmeric shot with orange juice, turmeric powder stirred into lemon water. One fights inflammation, the other delivers vitamin C. What could possibly go wrong? The answer, it turns out, is quite a lot. The acids in citrus fruits are powerful enough to chemically destabilize curcumin before your body ever has a chance to use it. This happens not gradually, not sometimes, but consistently, every single time the two make contact. Curcumin is what chemists call pH sensitive. It functions best in a neutral or mildly alkaline environment. When it encounters the strong citric acid in orange juice or lemon juice, it becomes chemically unstable and loses its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Your drink might still look golden and vibrant in the glass, but the healing power has already been destroyed. A 2020 study in the Journal of Food Chemistry found that curcumin degrades rapidly in acidic environments with a pH below 5, which is exactly the acidity level of most citrus juices. Another report noted that grapefruit specifically contains compounds that interfere with liver enzymes responsible for metabolizing curcumin, which not only reduces its effectiveness, but can also cause unexpected digestive discomfort. Think about Mr. Harold Simmons, 72 years old, who took his turmeric lemon shot every morning with pride. He was disciplined about it. He talked about it at the breakfast table. He believed it was keeping his inflammation under control and his arthritis manageable. But his pain persisted, and when his inflammation markers were tested, they hadn't improved at all from baseline. The moment he separated the two, taking his turmeric later in the day with warm water and a small amount of olive oil, and his pain and morning stiffness noticeably improved within a month. He hadn't needed to take more turmeric, he just needed to stop mixing it with something that was quietly destroying it. There's also a digestive concern that affects many seniors specifically. Both turmeric and citrus are naturally acidic on their own. When you combine them in the same drink or the same meal, the total acid load in your stomach increases significantly. For older adults whose esophageal muscles have weakened with age or who are managing conditions like GERD or acid reflux, this combination can trigger heartburn, nausea, and a sour stomach that lingers for hours. What begins as a carefully chosen health drink can
can leave you uncomfortable and bloated for the rest of the day. If you love citrus, enjoy it freely, but keep it separate from turmeric by at least 1 full hour. Drink your lemon water in the morning, let your body process it, and then take your turmeric later with warm, plain water and a pinch of black pepper. That simple timing change is all it takes to let both of these powerful foods work their magic fully and separately. Now let's talk about the third combination, one that surprises almost everyone who hears it: iron-rich foods and iron supplements. Red meat, chicken liver, spinach in large quantities, and prescription or over-the-counter iron pills. For decades, doctors have told seniors to protect their iron levels to prevent fatigue and anemia. Iron keeps your red blood cells strong and your energy stable, so many older adults are very deliberate about including iron-rich foods in their daily meals. And since turmeric is praised for improving circulation and fighting inflammation, it feels entirely logical to assume they'd work beautifully together. But the reality is almost exactly the opposite. Turmeric, specifically its active compound curcumin, has a strong chemical tendency to bind to iron molecules inside your digestive system, forming a complex that your body cannot absorb. This means that even when you eat an iron-rich meal and take your turmeric at the same time, a significant portion of that iron never makes it into your bloodstream. Over time, if this pattern continues, the consequences can become serious. Iron deficiency anemia in older adults causes fatigue that feels bone deep, pale skin, dizziness when standing, and even in more advanced cases, irregular heartbeat. These are symptoms that are often dismissed as simply getting older, when in reality, a daily dietary habit might be quietly responsible. A 2019 study in the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology found the curcumin decreased iron absorption by up to 40% when consumed alongside iron-rich foods or supplements. Another report in the European Journal of Nutrition showed that long-term turmeric use could gradually deplete iron stores in the body, particularly in postmenopausal women who are already at higher risk of mild anemia. And here's an important detail. This interaction happens even during cooking. If you prepare a turmeric curry with beef or cook lentils with turmeric powder, the curcumin starts binding to iron molecules during the cooking process itself and continues binding throughout digestion. That golden, nutritious-looking meal may actually be delivering far less iron than you believe. Mrs. Ruth Harris, 69 years old, added turmeric capsules to her routine specifically for their anti-inflammatory benefits. Her doctor had also prescribed iron supplements to address mildly low levels revealed in a routine blood test. She took both every morning without a second thought, assuming more is more. Within a few months, her iron levels dropped lower than before she started supplementing, which baffled her doctor initially. Once the timing was adjusted, moving turmeric to the evening and keeping iron supplements to the morning paired with a vitamin C-rich food like strawberries or kiwi, which actually enhance iron absorption rather than blocking it, her levels climbed back to normal and her energy returned noticeably within weeks. The lesson here is not to avoid turmeric or iron, but to give them the space they need. Separate them by at least 2 hours. Your body can benefit fully from both, but not when they're competing in the same meal. The fourth combination is one that many seniors genuinely enjoy and never suspect could be causing problems: spicy foods. Hot sauce, chili peppers, jalapenos, cayenne. There's something comforting about spice, especially as we age, when food can sometimes feel less exciting. A good bowl of spicy chili or a dash of hot sauce on eggs makes a meal feel alive. And since turmeric is already considered a warming spice, it seems a natural companion to other bold flavors. But when turmeric and capsaicin, the active compound in chili peppers, enter your body together, they create a double stimulation of your digestive tract that the aging stomach often cannot handle gracefully. Both compounds work on overlapping biochemical pathways, specifically the pathways that regulate inflammation, bile production, and acid production. When both are present at the same time, the combined effect can overstimulate your stomach lining, increase acid production sharply, and result in heartburn, cramping, nausea, and reflux that lingers for hours.
What begins as a carefully chosen health drink can leave you uncomfortable and bloated for the rest of the day. If you love citrus, enjoy it freely, but keep it separate from turmeric by at least 1 full hour. Drink your lemon water in the morning, let your body process it, and then take your turmeric later with warm, plain water and a pinch of black pepper. That simple timing change is all it takes to let both of these powerful foods work their magic fully and separately.
The fifth combination is the one that concerns medical professionals the most because its consequences can be genuinely dangerous. Turmeric combined with blood-thinning foods and medications. Garlic supplements, fresh ginger in large amounts, green tea, and medications like aspirin, warfarin, or clopidogrel. Turmeric is naturally anticoagulant, meaning it prevents blood platelets from clumping together. This is part of what makes it beneficial for heart health and circulation. But garlic, ginger, and green tea all work through the same platelet-inhibiting pathway, and aspirin, of course, is one of the most commonly used blood thinners in the world. When you combine 2 or more of these together, you don't simply add their effects, you multiply them. For seniors whose blood vessels are already more fragile and whose bodies take longer to heal from injury, blood that is significantly thinned can become a serious safety risk. Think about Mrs. Elaine Morris, 74 years old, who took a daily aspirin for her heart and drank a large cup of green tea with turmeric every single morning. She noticed that small cuts on her hands were taking much longer than usual to stop bleeding. She was waking up with unexplained bruises on her forearms and shins. Her blood test revealed prolonged clotting time, a clear and measurable sign that her blood's ability to form clots when needed had been significantly compromised. Once her routine was adjusted and her turmeric was separated from both the aspirin and the green tea by several hours, her bruising stopped and her clotting time returned to a safe range. A clinical review in the American Journal of Cardiology found that combining turmeric with aspirin or anticoagulant medications increased bleeding risk in older adults by nearly 30%. The Journal of Herbal Pharmacology reported that turmeric's curcumin enhanced the blood-thinning effects of both garlic and ginger when taken together regularly for more than 2 weeks. The practical advice here is clear. If you're on any blood-thinning medication, speak with your doctor before using turmeric regularly and never take it at the same time as aspirin, garlic supplements, or large amounts of ginger. Space them out by at least 4 to 6 hours and treat turmeric as the potent natural medicine it truly is. The seventh combination sounds almost paradoxical because black pepper is the ingredient most famous for making turmeric work better, and it does, in the right amount. The compound in black pepper called piperine is genuinely remarkable. It boosts curcumin absorption by up to 2,000% by inhibiting the enzymes that would otherwise break curcumin down too quickly. That's why so many health practitioners recommend always pairing the two. But the word always is where the problem begins. Because there is a significant and widely overlooked difference between adding a small pinch of black pepper to a bowl of soup once a day and loading your turmeric supplements with concentrated piperine extract at every meal. When piperine is used in excess, it doesn't just boost curcumin, it boosts the absorption of almost everything else that passes through your digestive tract at the same time, including your medications. This is not a minor detail for seniors managing multiple prescriptions. Piperine slows down the liver's cytochrome P450 system, a critical set of enzymes responsible for metabolizing most pharmaceutical drugs. When that system is overwhelmed by excess of piperine, drugs like blood pressure medications, blood thinners, diabetes medications, and cholesterol pills stay in your bloodstream longer than they should. Blood levels of these medications can climb well above therapeutic ranges, leading to side effects like dizziness, nausea, irregular heart rhythm, or dangerously low blood pressure. A 2018 study in the Journal of Pharmacology and Drug Metabolism found that piperine increased blood levels of common drugs including warfarin and metformin by up to 150% in some individuals. Mr. Richard Moore, 73 years old, was making turmeric pepper tea with generous amounts of both ingredients every single morning for his arthritis. He felt energized at first, but within a few weeks he was experiencing persistent nausea, headaches, and heartburn. His doctor discovered that his blood pressure medication levels were abnormally elevated in his bloodstream, not because his dose had changed, but because piperine was preventing his liver from clearing it efficiently. Once he reduced the pepper to a literal pinch and spaced out his turmeric consumption, every symptom disappeared. The rule here is simple. A small pinch of black pepper, roughly 1/8 of a teaspoon per serving, is all you need to meaningfully enhance curcumin absorption. More is not more. More is a burden on your liver, your digestion, and your medications. The seventh combination is one that many seniors encounter in their evening routines: alcohol. Beer, wine, whiskey, any form of it. A glass of red wine after dinner feels civilized. It feels earned. And there's even some research suggesting that moderate alcohol consumption might have cardiovascular benefits. So when a senior who takes turmeric capsules also enjoys a nightly drink, it can seem entirely reasonable, even complimentary. After all, turmeric is supposed to protect your liver and reduce inflammation. Surely a single glass of wine won't undermine that. But this is where a critical misunderstanding lives. Turmeric and alcohol don't complement each other inside your body. They compete, and the organ that suffers the consequences of that competition is your liver. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Turmeric stimulates your liver to produce detoxifying enzymes and increases bile production to support fat digestion. Alcohol, even in small amounts, forces your liver to immediately prioritize the breakdown of ethanol, which is classified as a toxin in your body and must be processed before nearly anything else. When both arrive in your system at the same time, your liver becomes caught between two competing demands it was not designed to handle simultaneously. Oxidative stress builds up in liver cells. Detoxification slows down. Medications that your liver was supposed to metabolize and clear start accumulating. Over months, this pattern can lead to elevated liver enzymes, the early measurable warning sign that your liver is under chronic stress. A 2020 study in the Journal of Hepatology Research found that adults who combined turmeric supplements with regular alcohol consumption had significantly higher oxidative stress markers and slower liver enzyme recovery compared to those using turmeric alone. Another study found that alcohol reduced the bioavailability of curcumin by over 35%, meaning your body absorbs dramatically less of turmeric's active healing compound when alcohol is present. Mr. George Whitman, 71 years old, was taking turmeric capsules for joint pain and enjoying a glass of red wine every evening. He felt fine for the first few months, but at his next routine checkup, his liver enzymes had noticeably risen from his previous results. There was no obvious explanation until the combination was identified. Once he moved his turmeric to the morning and reduced his alcohol to occasional use on different days entirely, his liver readings normalized within 6 weeks and his energy improved considerably. There's also the digestive dimension to consider. Turmeric increases bile production to help process fats. Alcohol simultaneously relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter, the small but crucial muscle that prevents stomach acid from rising into the esophagus. Together, these two effects create the perfect conditions for acid reflux, especially at night when you're lying down and gravity is no longer helping to keep stomach contents where they belong. If you're someone who experiences nighttime heartburn, turmeric and alcohol could be the hidden culprit. The practical guidance here is firm and clear. Do not take turmeric supplements or strong turmeric preparations on the same day you plan to drink alcohol. Give your liver the gift of doing one thing at a time.
The eighth and final combination brings us to something that has become a deeply woven part of modern daily life: sugar and processed foods. Sweetened yogurt, flavored energy drinks, pastries, packaged smoothies, artificially colored cereals. These are foods that many seniors eat not out of indulgence, but out of convenience or habit, never imagining that they could be systematically canceling out the benefits of a health supplement taken with great intentionality. And the irony is thick here, because many of the most popular ways to consume turmeric involve adding it to exactly these kinds of foods. Turmeric stirred into sweetened yogurt, turmeric added to a smoothie made with flavored juice and honey, turmeric lattes sweetened generously with refined sugar. Each of these feels virtuous. Each of them quietly undoes the very thing you're trying to accomplish. The reason comes down to fundamental biochemistry. Curcumin works by blocking specific inflammatory pathways in the body. Sugar and refined carbohydrates work by activating those exact same pathways. When blood glucose spikes after a sugary meal, the body releases inflammatory signaling molecules called cytokines. These cytokines directly interfere with curcumin's ability to suppress inflammation. The two are working in opposite directions simultaneously, and the sugar usually wins, because its inflammatory effects are immediate, powerful, and systemic. A 2020 study in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism found that high sugar intake reduced the anti-inflammatory effectiveness of curcumin by up to 50%. Another report showed that combining curcumin with processed fats or sweetened dairy actually increased markers of oxidative stress, the very biological process that turmeric is specifically supposed to fight. This means that in the wrong food environment, turmeric doesn't just become neutral, it can actively contribute to the oxidative burden it was supposed to relieve. Mrs. Janice Howard, 70 years old, started every morning with a turmeric smoothie that she was enormously proud of. She had designed it herself: turmeric powder, vanilla yogurt, orange juice, and a generous squeeze of honey. She felt like she was doing everything right, but after months of this routine, her arthritis pain was unchanged, and her doctor noted with concern that her A1C, the standard measure of long-term blood sugar control, had actually increased from her previous reading. When she replaced the sugary smoothie with a gentler preparation, turmeric blended into unsweetened almond milk with fresh spinach and a touch of cinnamon, the change in how she felt was remarkable. Her blood sugar stabilized within weeks. Her joint pain began to respond. Her mornings felt lighter. She hadn't taken more turmeric. She had simply stopped surrounding it with ingredients that were working against it. There's also the liver dimension again, which connects all of these combinations in a meaningful way. Processed foods contain artificial preservatives, trans fats, synthetic colorings, and chemical additives that all compete for the liver's limited detoxification resources. Since turmeric itself is metabolized through the liver, every artificial substance you consume alongside it is essentially cutting in line, slowing the liver's ability to process curcumin and distribute its benefits to the rest of your body. For seniors whose liver function has naturally become less efficient with age, this competition creates real and noticeable consequences: bloating, sluggishness, brain fog, and a persistent sense of not quite feeling well that never has an obvious explanation. Once you understand this, the solution becomes obvious. Turmeric thrives in simplicity. It works best when the body around it is clean, well-nourished, and not overwhelmed by competing substances. What all of these 8 combinations have in common is something important. None of the foods involved are inherently bad. Milk, citrus, iron-rich foods, spices, garlic, black pepper, the occasional drink, natural sweeteners, these are all part of a normal human diet. The problem is not the foods themselves. The problem is the timing, the combination, and the context. And this is the most valuable insight you can take away from everything we've covered today. Turmeric is a medicine, not just a spice. It deserves the same thoughtful consideration you'd give to a pharmaceutical drug. You wouldn't take your blood pressure pill with grapefruit juice without checking whether they interact. You wouldn't take 2 medications at once without asking whether they compete. Turmeric deserves that same level of awareness. The good news is that once you understand these interactions, using turmeric correctly becomes genuinely simple. Take it with warm water and a small pinch of black pepper. Add a few drops of olive oil or eat it alongside half an avocado. Use plant-based milk if you want a creamy drink. Keep it away from citrus, dairy, iron supplements, blood-thinning medications, spicy meals, alcohol, and sugar. These aren't complicated restrictions. They're small, practical adjustments that transform turmeric from a well-intentioned but ineffective habit into a genuinely powerful daily medicine. And for seniors whose bodies are already navigating the natural challenges of aging, these adjustments can make an extraordinary difference in how you actually feel day to day. Less stiffness in the morning, clearer thinking in the afternoon, more energy in the evening, better digestion all around. Your health is not determined solely by what you add to your diet. It's shaped just as powerfully by what you stop doing wrong.
Every person whose story we explored in this conversation, Mrs. Linda Warren with her arthritis, Mr. Harold Simmons with his inflammation, Mrs. Ruth Harris with her iron deficiency, Mr. Samuel Jones with his heartburn, Mrs. Elaine Morris with her bruising, Mr. Richard Moore with his medication levels, Mr. George Whitman with his liver enzymes, Mrs. Janice Howard with her blood sugar, all of them were trying to do the right thing. All of them were putting in genuine effort, and all of them were undermined not by laziness or ignorance, but simply by not knowing what you now know. That knowledge is the difference. Not more supplements, not higher doses, not fancier recipes, just the right combinations used at the right times in the right way. So, if you're over 60 and turmeric is part of your daily routine, take a moment today to look at what you're mixing it with. Make the simple adjustments. Give your body the clean, supportive environment that curcumin needs to actually work. Because turmeric truly is remarkable. The research on it is extensive and compelling. Its effects on joint inflammation, cognitive function, cardiovascular health, and cellular aging are real and well documented. But none of that research was conducted with dairy milk, citrus juice, iron supplements, or sugar in the picture. The studies that show turmeric's benefits show them under conditions where curcumin can actually be absorbed and used. Your job is to recreate those conditions in your own daily life, and now you know exactly how to do it. Let turmeric do what it was designed to do, and you may be genuinely surprised by how different you feel in the weeks and months ahead.